chat to you all about osteoporosis. So as an exercise physiologist, there's a lot we can do in the management and the treatment of osteoporosis. In terms of what osteoporosis is a condition of the skeletal system. It's characterized by a loss of calcium and minerals from our bones. A fall in estrogen levels is associated with creating an environment where the bone reabsorption tends to then outweigh bone formation and healing as well. In terms of our bone mineral density, we measure it through a DEXA scan, which is a form of X-ray, and these ranges are classed from 0 down into the negative ranges. In terms of your bone mineral density, a score of 0 to -1 is considered to be a normal and quite healthy range that most adults fall in. We then have osteopenia, which is an bone mineral density of between -1 to -2.5, and then osteoporosis, which is a bone mineral density that's -2.5 or lower. As you have osteoporosis, this increases your risk of fractures. For every reduction in that T-score, that sort of -1 or -2.5, the risk of fractures doubles. So an individual with a T-score of -2 has twice the risk of developing a fracture compared to someone with a T-score of -1. At the moment in Australia, 1 in 2 women and 1 in 3 men suffer from osteoporosis-related fractures over their lifetime. Reduced bone strength is an important predictor of fracture risk. However, most fractures result from falls. So depending on the stage of your osteopenia or osteoporosis when you're diagnosed, you'll be given a range of different treatment options. Some of them are pharmacotherapy based, so that includes things like calcium, vitamin D supplements. There's also injections and different tablets. One really common one is biphosphonates that are either weekly or monthly or sometimes even yearly injections or tablets. And then exercise, of course. So exercise can be either loaded with external weights, things like dumbbells and machines. It can also be just using your body weight. And really the starting point depends both on your individual level of strength and exercise before beginning treatment, but it also depends upon your stage of either osteoporosis or osteopenia. What we really want to do is to stimulate the bone growth and the adaptation. So it's really important to have an increase in lean muscle mass and also a variety of different stimuli placed upon the muscles and the bones. So generally, exercise combined with pharmacotherapy, that tends to give you the best results overall. But if it is caught at a pretty early stage of osteopenia, you can reverse it with exercise alone without the need to take any sort of drugs. While we're sort of mainly looking at really high to medium impact sort of exercises, if you are at a lower level, there is some low impact options available as well. However, for most people, lower impact activities like walking, hydrotherapy, Pilates, don't tend to put quite enough sort of strain or stress upon the bones to elicit the sort of responses that we're looking for. Obviously, things like walking, Pilates, great for everyday health, have loads of other benefits, but in terms of actually helping to improve your bone health, they don't tend to do quite as much as a little bit more heavy resistance work. The second really important component to exercise treatment for osteoporosis and osteopenia is balance training. We know that most fractures actually result from falls, and so improving your balance is really important at reducing that risk of falling. We know that from about the age of 50, your balance will begin to decline. In Australia, 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65 will experience a fall each year, and approximately 19,000 people experience hip fractures every year in Australia. Now we know that exercise is really important. I wanted to share with you the why and the how behind exercise and improvements for osteoporosis and osteopenia. So when we're looking at weight training, applying load and pressure to the body, it helps to stimulate the depositing of extra minerals and calcium into our bones. In our bones, we have two main players, osteoclasts, who are like the cleaners, and then osteoblasts, who are the builders. In the treatment of osteoporosis and osteopenia, we want the osteoblasts, the builders, to outweigh the osteoclasts' work. In that way, we end up with this positive balance where you're building more bone rather than losing bone from the cleaners working over time. So during exercise, receptors in the bone, they detect the extra strain and extra load on the bones, and they stimulate and encourage the osteoblasts, the builders, to work even harder and even faster to build up bone strength. We also look at improving lean muscle mass as part of osteoporosis treatment, particularly for women with a BMI of 20 or less. Any woman of any size or age will see improvements to bone mineral density with improving lean body mass, but it's most relevant for those, as I said, with a BMI of less than 20. We also know that through increasing your lean muscle mass, regardless of age, height, physical activity level, sort of vitamin D, calcium levels, all of it will sort of come together to help reduce your fracture risk. We then look also at balance. So in terms of your balance, there's very much a use it or lose it sort of principle at play, where we really want to be challenging your balance on a daily basis to elicit the changes that we need. Because we know that balance often declines with age, most of us tend to then adapt our behaviours, our everyday activities to accommodate that reducing balance without even realising that we're doing it. So doing exercises in a really sort of controlled and structured environment help to give your balance systems the challenges that it needs to improve your balance and your stability for when you're out into the community. Ideally, this should be sort of 5 to 10 minutes each day that you're working on doing some balance exercises. Looking at the weights training as well, we also know that strong muscles, they do a better job of helping to support our joints. The stronger your joints are, the less likely you are to, say, roll an ankle or little bits and pieces like that too. And we sort of know from all of the research that improvements can be seen in as little as 6 weeks.